Hi everyone, so I wanted to discuss a topic regarding the Switch 2 today. This is a question that I've seen popping up in some places, and it's something that I have been personally wondering as well. And that is, where are all the other Switch 2 updates for Switch games? If we have not met yet, my name is Jarrell. I develop games for a living. I've shipped titles across the 3DS, Wii U, and Switch. My favorite console to develop for has been the Wii U because it's so creative and interesting. I do not yet develop for Switch 2. I have a number of titles in development for Switch. Now, what is interesting to me about this topic is that I kind of personally expected there to be more titles receiving regular updates, that these games, are Switch titles and would receive updates similar to what we saw for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Echoes of Wisdom, Link's Awakening. So when we receive the updates for those games, it allows the games to run at 4K. They can run at a higher frame limit, so if they were capped at 30 frames per second before, an update will allow them to run at 60. We would have access to things like DLSS, HDR. That's what the updates are. It does not need to be an overhaul. So I'm going to share information with you if you are wondering about the topic as well, but I will be sure to not share any information that would infringe upon any NDAs or anything like that. So the information I'm sharing you is quite generic, but pertains specifically to the situation. So what does it need for a game on the Switch to be updated for the Switch 2? Basically, you have your game, you have your source files, your project file. You need to open that in your game engine, your development environment, but your development environment needs to be updated for Switch 2. Your development tools must be provided by Nintendo, and they need to be the Switch 2 versions of that. So if developers do not have the Switch 2 versions of their development environments, their game engines, then they will not be able to update their Switch games for Switch 2. We have seen Nintendo roll out a couple updates, so we know that it is possible. I'm wondering why we have not received any further ones. So there must be some logical reasoning behind it. I just wanted to explain that in order for developers to actually roll those updates out, they need the updated game engine, the updated development tools, so that they can open their project again, and realistically you would clone that and say this is the Switch 2 version. But once you open your source project in the updated game engine, you generally would have to go through a full round of extensive testing again, just in case updating your game with a new version of the game engine breaks something. This is something that happens often during game development, is if you take your game and you load it into a newer version of your game engine, often things will break. There will be compatibility issues. So you need to do manual fixing, manual bug testing, and that's just a part of the process. That's nothing special or groundbreaking, but it is something you have to do. But in general, developers would not have to remake their game. There isn't a whole huge amount of development you have to do. You basically open your game project in the new version of the game engine, and then you export it, you spit out the file, and then that makes the Switch 2 version. So that's what it takes. So it's not labor intensive, but there is a manual process, and there's a whole round of testing that needs to go on in order for that process to work. So I would like to know. I would like to receive more Switch 2 updates for Switch games, not just first party, but third party as well. I'm really looking forward to when third party developers can roll out their games and have Switch 2 updates that allow running at a higher resolution and higher frame rate. I don't know when that's going to happen. Again, I do not have the Switch 2 dev kit. I have my hands full finishing up a number of games for the Switch. So that's where it is. So thanks very much for checking in with me. This is Bear River Reservoir on Highway 88 in California. This is a great place. It's a great campground. I'm just exploring the mountains right now. I'm driving around the Sierra Nevadas, driving down mountain roads and just exploring and looking around, looking for adventure, discovering cool little places to stop. These places change over the years. There used to be a really cool saloon, restaurant, and general store here at the Bear River Reservoir Resort. I've just learned that it burned down in a fire 2 years ago. Luckily, nobody got hurt. They only lost one tree. They didn't lose any other buildings, but it's a huge bummer because it used to be a really neat place to sit, have a drink, and shoot a game of pool. They haven't built a replacement, which is a real bummer, but there's so many fantastic places like this around California along Highway 88. If you're looking for some adventure, you can see a boat ramp over there. There's boat rentals. It's a family-friendly place. It's great. Wonderful place to trip around and just adventure and explore. Unfortunately, the restaurant and saloon general store is gone. Bummer. All right, I hope you've enjoyed the sound of the waves here. It's really calming and relaxing. All right, I don't know when I'm heading back to the office. I'll get back to my game development. I'm just up in the mountains adventuring, looking for camping spots, hanging out with people, meeting people, making new friends. It's really great out here. Take care, everyone. Be well. I'll see you around. Oh, yeah, my catchphrase. I always say the same catchphrase here on the channel here, and that catchphrase is "Stay hydrated."